All right, welcome again to another exciting lesson. This is the Creation Academy. I am Ompus Among Us, and we are going to do our next lesson in our series. We are up to lesson 5, I believe. Before we get to that, make sure you like on YouTube and follow on Twitch, and then subscribe on both if you'd like. Subscribing on YouTube, it's free. I know it's not free on Twitch, but it's up to you. And then shout out to Genesis Guild. Great guild. If you're looking for a guild, haven't found one in the game yet, head on over to the Genesis Discord, and yeah, we'll set you up, as they say. All right, so yeah, the lesson 5 on Destinies. This is version 1.0. I will update this later on if they change the Destiny system, if they add more Destinies and things like that. But right now, we are pretty set right now on the Destinies that we have in the game right now. All right, so Destinies are a list of tasks that help they answer the question, what do I do now? So I know there's a starter quest in the game, and as soon as you spawn in the game, you will start the starter quest. But after that, well, what do you do? And then this is a list of things, or kind of like micro tasks that basically let you experience some other things that you may not know are out there, like processing and crafting and things like that. Plus, it's a great way to get some rewards, and we'll go over that here in a second. They're automatically tracked. You don't have to do anything. If you saw the lesson on commissions, which was lesson 3, I believe, you have to actually go to the commission boards and do those, like click on them and start doing them. But with Destinies, you don't have to do anything. As soon as you spawn into the game, and actually, I think one of your very first quests is to kill 5 goblins, and I think you get a Destiny for doing that. So yeah, you'll see Destiny objective complete or something like that pop up all the time. Don't worry about it. Just keep doing things over and over again as you normally would, and you'll just get credit for it. So it's a great system. Also, again, like I said, it might introduce you to things in the game that aren't overly obvious for you. So, all right. So you can earn XP, glint, and gear for completing tasks. We're gonna go over the awards. I did the math. You can earn 32,464 XP. That's more XP that it takes to get from level 1 to level 5. So if you just did Destinies, and you can't just do Destinies because you have to do other stuff, then it has enough XP to get you to level 1 through 5. If you use a 25% adventuring XP scroll, like we talked about in the commissions lesson, then you can earn an additional 8,000 for that. But we'll go over that at the end of the lesson. Also, you can earn almost 1.4 gold for this as well. That's the vendor price for all of the glint that you get. And you can use glint for other things, but at its core, that's basically how much it's worth, 1.4 gold. All right, and the default key is L. So on your keyboard, while you're in the game, press L, and it'll pull up the window. So like I've done before, this is the window for it. Again, you'll see up in the top right corner, it has the default key of L. I'll go over all the things on this window so that you are familiar with the window. First off is over on the left-hand side, you see those are the 6 categories of Destinies that are currently under the Adventure tab. Again, there's probably going to be more Destinies later on, but right now this is what we have. 4 of those are locked, and the reason why they're locked is you have to be level 5. If you roll your mouse over that little lock icon, it'll tell you why it's locked, and you have to be level 5 for those. But again, on my YouTube channel and on Twitch, I did a 3-hour live stream on launch day for early access. And I think on the YouTube, I did like an hour and 15 minutes of it, but I was almost to level 5. So you can get to level 5 within the first hour and a half, I guess. Probably quicker than that if you did more things. I strictly just did the quest. I didn't do anything else. I didn't go down chop trees or fight mobs or anything like that. If you did that kind of stuff, then you would obviously level up quicker. I was just sticking to the starter quest so that new players would know what to do as they went along that. Over on the top right corner of the window, it says progress 0 of 8. Each one of these have 8 tasks associated with it, and that just tells you your progress. All of these have treasure chests. All of them have 4 treasure chests, except for one that only has 3. But as soon as you do 2 tasks within each one, you will get a treasure chest. And I'll go over that, what the rewards in that treasure chest are. But yeah, some gear, a lot of gear, glint. And you can claim these items without actually claiming the ones down in the bottom, right? The individual ones. This is separate from that. And I'll explain that a little more here in a second. All right, so this is the window. It's going to be a constellation. This is first steps. That's kind of like a window, like I guess in a cathedral. There's a couple of different icons on here. If you see this icon here and it has like a part of a circle filled up, that means there's a certain number of things that you have to do for this, iterations, I guess. So this is the one that you have to be level 5, and it's telling you that you're level 1. Once it gets to the level 2, it'll fill up another portion of it, level 3, level 4, and then once you get all the way to level 5, it'll finish the circle. And then if you see one that's highlighted and that's bigger than all the rest of them, like this one down at the bottom, that's just the one that's showing over on the right hand side. So this one down here, it's bigger than all the rest of them and it's kind of brighter. That's just telling you that that's the one that you're looking at there. So this is just summon amount. In Lionhold and in Samaya's Hope, one of the first people that you talk to is, I think the second person that you talk to gives you a mount, you summon the mount, and then you just finish that. So it's again, you don't have to do anything. It'll just give you that completion for this Destiny. It won't give you the XP, right? The player rewards, it doesn't give you the XP, which is good. And I'll explain later why that's good, that it doesn't automatically give you that XP. All right, down the bottom is the track icon. If you watched the one on commissions, I talked about how we track things in the journal, and it shows on the main page under your mini map. Kind of the same thing here. You could track these as part of that. You don't really need to. There's not really ones that you would want to track. The only ones that you would want to track, maybe if you needed to gather 50 plants or kill a certain number of mobs or something like that, maybe. But I found that there's no real reason to track any of these unless it's a numerical one that you have to do multiple of. And then over on the bottom left-hand side is how many destinies that you are currently tracking. And I'm not tracking any on this character at this point in time right now. All right, so I'm going to go over this little reward window. You'll see a lot of these as we do the lesson. Down in the bottom corner is a little lock icon. I cut this off on all the other pictures, but I'm showing you here. If you hover your mouse over one of these chests that's in the top right corner of the Destinies window on each one of the categories, this window will pop up. That's the reward for that specific chest. If you hit the T on your keyboard, what it's going to do is it's going to lock that window, and that's going to free up your mouse so you can move over and place your cursor on one of these. So I put my cursor on the Wanderer Scepter, and this little window popped up. So what I would do is look at all of these chests and all the rewards and see which one has that piece of gear that you really need. Like, oh, I really need that greatsword, or I really need that scepter or shield or whatever. And then once you see the one that you want, again, hit T and then roll your mouse over it and go, oh, that's a lot more power. So for a level 5, maybe a 300 power spell book would be something good for you. Then I would concentrate on what it takes to get to that point. So say this was the 3rd treasure chest in this one, then I would need to do 6 of the task within the first steps ones. So in order to open that treasure chest. And then once it gets to each of the treasure chests, a claim button shows up in the top right corner. Just click on claim, and it's going to claim all the treasure chests that you have there. And then it's going to go into your items inventory, right click on it, it's going to open the chest. And then a window is going to pop up and it says, okay, which of these do you want? I mean, obviously it says possible rewards. You're not going to get all of those. You'll say, which of these? Do you want a greatsword? Do you want a mace, dagger, scepter, or shield? And then you choose the one that you want, click on it, and then click accept or claim or whatever the button is. And it's going to show up in your items inventory. Once it's in there, right click on it. It automatically gets slotted in your weapon slot, whichever slot that you're going for. If it's a shield, it's going to be offhand and stuff like that. So yeah, it's good to skip forward in the commissions to see gear that you could use right now if you just knew what tasks that you need to do, like processing or crafting or gathering or something like that, so you can focus in on just getting that one piece that you really need right now. All right, so all of them have a picture, and with the constellation, again, there's 8 stars on here. Again, for first steps, it's kind of like a cathedral window, I guess. And these are the reward chests for it. The first one is you'll get 1 dim glint for the very first chest. The second chest is Adventurer's Health Kit. And you see you got a Novice Health Salve, a Mana Salve, a Rations, and then a Scroll of Constitution. Again, you just choose one of those. The next one is some chests. You got a Vestment, a Star Vestment, and Cure. So when it comes to gear, you're going to get 3 choices. Sorry, when it comes to armor, you're going to get 3 choices. You're going to have a heavy one, you're going to have a medium, and you're going to have a light one. Again, I mentioned this in the last lesson. Physical, oh no, I think I mentioned in the live stream yesterday. Physical mitigation is going to be your heavy. Magical mitigation is going to be your light. And then medium armor is half and half. So half physical and half magical. So if you are going to be fighting mobs and you know they're going to be magical, then go light. If you're fighting mobs and you know they're going to be physical, then go heavy. And then the medium is just kind of a good half and half between the two. If you don't really know what you're going to be fighting, you want to be protected of both. Not as much as physical and not as much as magical, of course, but at least you're protected from both. You're mitigated from both. And the last one is the melee weapon chest, great sword, mace, dagger, scepter, and shield, which is the one I showed you on the previous slide. All right, so here's all the tasks for first steps. They're all pretty much straightforward. Really, there's nothing on here that's difficult. As I go through these reward tables, I'm just going to point out a couple of different ones that just to let you be aware of. The only one I want to point out in this one is reach level 5. That's probably the hardest one to do on here. Complete 5 quests. Just do the starter quest, right? Loot 5 items. You might loot 5 items by killing the gremlins outside the gate because they drop the something rancid cheese or something like that. Kill 10 enemies is easy and things like that. So you will get XP reward for all of that, and then some of those will also give glint. So you get the XP reward and you get glint for a lot of these. All right, the next one is the Novice Combat. It's in the shape of a sword. Again, 8 tasks. The 3 treasure chests are up at the top. Those 3 treasure chests are, the first one is the same health kit that you got in the other one, the first steps one, the health mana and rations and the scroll. And then you get a lost weapons chest, a great sword, mace, dagger, etc. And here is actually your first chance to get a bow. There's a long bow on here and a short bow. And a wand as well. And on this one is a ranged weapon. Again, another long bow, short bow. So what I would do on this one then is if you are a ranger or you do want your ranged weapon to be a bow, look at both of these and see which one is the better one. Because if you get the short bow or long bow here, and then you're like, oh, well, this is a better one. Well, you could have gotten a main hand, like a great sword or something like that. So again, it pays to look ahead and see what's coming up so that you don't get something that you're going to replace later anyways, when you could have got something that you didn't have to replace because it was better than what you had before. Like the rusty great sword that you come out with, right? You can get a better great sword while also still getting a better bow as well later on. So this is the Novice Combat. I didn't have anything to point out on here. This all pretty much standard. Perform 3 dodges during combat. Just hit the dodge button, right? Guard during combat. Hit the block button, which is your right mouse button. Learn 5 skills from the weapon skill trees. That's just by using your weapons. You're going to do that. That's hit K. That's your skill book. You go in there, and that's where you learn your skills and also your weapon skills and things like that. All right, next one is adventuring in the shape of a book. It has 4 chests. All the rest of them have 4 chests. The first chest on this one is going to be dim glint. Almost all of them give dim glint as the first one. So dim glint, 1 dim glint. That's worth 1 silver, by the way. Leggings. So this is the first time we're actually going to get some really good armor for the legs. Same thing. You're going to have heavy, light, and medium. And then you got some shoes. So they're called treads or sabatons. Really, they're just boots. And then the last one is some jewelry. Now, you do get a necklace the very first person you talk to as you leave the starting area. But this is just another necklace that you can get. And arcane is magic and might is physical. So if you're a magical user, like say you're a bard or a mage or a cleric, then obviously you want to go with the arcane one. But if you're a tank or a fighter or something like that, then you might want to go with the might one. All right, so here are the venturing ones. Again, nothing really to point out here except for this one. Kill 5 elite enemies. Elite enemies are the ones with the stars on them. So you'll see enemies that don't have stars, and then you'll see some enemies with a 1, 2, or 3 stars. Obviously, the 3 stars are hardest. So if you see an enemy at your level, but it has a star, that enemy is going to be a lot harder than one that didn't have a star. So you have no stars, 1, 2, and 3 stars. So just find the enemies that have stars. There's some bears around the starting areas that have the stars that you can easily fight and kill. They're not soloable. It's just they're going to take you a lot longer to kill them. If you're a cleric, you have heals. You can just heal faster than they can damage you. And then become a citizen of a settlement. You can't do this one until there's a level 3 settlement. So this is the first one that we've seen that is beyond your control in the very beginning. So you have to wait until a settlement gets leveled up to that. Deliver a construction crate. You can deliver a construction crate to any settlement that's not a level 0. Reach level 10 is kind of hard. It's going to take you a while to do that, but it is the first time that you're actually going to jump over to the next one, to the next level of gear and weapons. All right, next one is Novice Crafting. That's a anvil. Again, the first one is glint. The second one is a pants box, again, and these are for crafting, right? This is the first time, and the whole time that the alpha has been going on, that we've had pants at the novice level. We've never had pants at the novice level for crafting. Pants have always been a apprentice level item, but this is the first time that they've given us pants at the novice level. So that's a good change. It's going to add some crafting stats to you. Then you also can get a shirt. So basically at this point, you need to figure out, what am I going to do? Of the 8 crafting skills, which one am I going to do? I'm a carpenter, so obviously I chose the carpenter skivvies and I chose the carpenter's shirt for this. And the last one is a recipe. Again, depending on what you're going to be doing. So for carpentry does bows, so I chose the silver glade short bow for this one because the short bow is made by carpentry. So you would need to figure out of all these things, and I think it matches up, right? So if you look at weaponsmith, the first one is power two-handed mace. The second one is carpentry. That's the short bow. The arcane engineer is focus. Armorsmith is the pauldrons. So yeah, so they line up. The last one is scribe, and that lines up with the scroll of crafting experience. So whichever one that you choose, if you're unsure, just remember where it was in that list, right? If it's the second, third, or fourth one, it's going to be the second, third, or fourth one on the crafter's recipe chest. All right, and here's all the awards for this. The only one that I want to bring attention to, there's 2. Craft 5 pieces of equipment. Equipment is your armor, and equipment is also your weapons. So if you are specifically going for this one destiny, craft 1 and then look at the destiny and see if it ticked off. If it didn't tick off, then whatever you're crafting isn't equipment according to this destiny. So, but if it did, if you're a 0 and then you crafted 1 and it took it, then craft 4 more, right? Because you know it's going to take it. But I would just, instead of crafting 5 and then realizing, oh, I didn't get any credit for that one, just do 1 and make sure you got credit for it and then craft 4 more. And then last one is raise a crafting skill to apprentice. Crafting of the artisan categories, the gathering, processing, crafting is the hardest one to level up because you need a whole lot of processed materials to do crafting. And it takes a lot of money, silver, gold, to make a whole bunch of processed materials to do crafting. So yeah, leveling a novice skill to apprentice is going to take you time. I mean, it's certainly doable, and as well as journeyman, it's just going to take you a little bit of time and money to gather those materials, process those materials, pay for the reagents, and then crafting also has reagents. So yeah, so just be warned that if you are trying to level up something level 10, it's an investment in time and resources and money. Next one is gathering, a shape of an axe or a hatchet, probably an axe. All right, again, first one is dim glint like before. The second one is the gatherer shirt, kind of like we had with the crafting shirt. Again, kind of the same thing we had with the crafting pants. And then the last one is a tool. So you do start out the game with crude tools, and then you get upgraded tools later on in the starter quest line. And those are novice, which have a higher durability. This tool is not uncommon. It's common, but it has higher stats on it. It doesn't make sense. I think they should change that, right? So why would you give a lower level higher stats if it's the same novice tool, right? But anyways, yeah, just choose whatever of your main gathering skills. So if you're carpentry, I would obviously choose a lumberjacking axe. If you're trying to do metalworking or armor smithing, something like that, then I would choose the mining pickaxe. So really, you want to focus all your resources and free stuff to getting the things that you're going to be doing most of. Herbalism, if you're going out and picking flowers because you got to do weaving, or you're trying to do cooking or something like that. All right, here's all the ones for this. Again, same thing. The only one that really is kind of hard is the raising and gathering skill to apprentice. All right, and then this is the next one. It's basically kind of like a campfire. This is for processing. Again, dim glint is the first one. And the second one is the shirt. The next one is the pants, and then the next one is a scroll. This, honestly, this is just a crappy scroll. It's 7 processing quality. I think you can craft one that's about the same with like 1 ruby and one paper. I would have to see what the quality is, but it's just a freebie. I think they should have done a better award, at least give you an uncommon one for this award. But yeah, so this is the Novice Scroll of Processing quality. All this means is that the quality, and I'll go over this when I go over processing, which is really the next lesson, or the next new lesson. Processing quality is basically taking all your material. So say you had all legendary and it would craft out to 100 based on all the legendary. This would be a little better than 100 because you have a quality score. So basically it takes the same materials that you have and makes the outcome a little bit better. And that's also good because say you didn't have all legendary, you had all legendary but one epic. Maybe the quality that you have bumped that epic all the way up to legendary. So now instead of having to have all legendary, you can have almost all legendary but have a good quality score, and that would bump it up to legendary. So we'll get more in that as we get going in the processing and the crafting lessons. All right, so here's all the ones that are novice processing. Again, same thing. The only one that's really going to be a problem is raising a processing skilled apprentice, which isn't hard at all. I mean, you could get 250 wood and then go to the processing station. As long as you have the reagents and the processing cost, put that in there, you're not going to get all the way to 10, I don't believe, and just that 250, but you will get a good chunk of the way there. And the last one is complete 10 mayoral buy orders. This is the only one that is beyond your control. The settlements are going to level up, right? But the mayor has to put these in. So for one, a mayor has to be elected. It can't be elected until the settlement is at level 3, which is the village stage. And then once it hits level 3, a election has to happen. And that usually happens within 48 hours, I guess, of it hitting level 3. And then the mayor is elected after, I think the first election is 24 or 48 hours. And then once that mayor is elected, then he or she has to do the buy orders. And they usually do because they're pretty important. So just keep track of all the settlements. And if you really want to do all the destinies, then wait for a settlement to get level 3, wait for a mayor to get elected. And then once they're elected, go there, look at the buy orders. And I have a separate lesson on buy orders that's coming up. But yeah, check the buy orders and just knock out 10 of them. And it's generally, all buy orders are going to have 2 types of material. One's going to be like, say, daffodils. Another one's going to be like rubies or something like that. There's always going to be 2 materials. You gather those materials, and some are processed materials as well. So, but generally in the very beginning, it's just gathered materials, and then you turn them in, and then you get script for that. Script is the node currency. But for this one, you just got to do 10 of them. And then that's it. So for maximizing your XP, like I went over in the commissions one, accept commissions. Anytime you see a commission board, walk by it, accept commissions. It's going to be giving you XP for doing things that you would be doing anyways, like killing mobs and stuff like that. So do the commissions and also do the destinies, right? Again, destinies are going to be something that's just going to happen naturally, but you can also track them if you want to do specific ones based on the fact that you want to get a specific type of gear or piece of gear. And then use an adventuring XP scroll. The XP scroll you get from commissions, open up chests until you find the XP scroll, then don't open up any more chests, because to get a chest you have to complete the commission. And then once you get the adventuring XP scroll, do as many destinies as you can, do as many commissions as you can, pop the scroll, like read it, right click on it, and then claim them all in the destiny screen, which I have right here. Complete the commissions in the journal, and then claim the destinies in the destiny screen, and then you will get that 25% additional XP bonus on there. So it's free XP. So if you game the system right, it's free XP, and that will bump you up even faster to get the level 10. Because again, the level 10 is your first breakpoint that you really need to get to. All right, I put this printout on Reddit. I will link this in the description video on YouTube so that you can easily find it. But if you go to Reddit and search for Destiny's printout, I have it on there. It's basically all the ones there. I have my printout right here so I can track them. And I said, oh, I need to do this one. And then, because otherwise you got to go to that screen. You got to click on each one of the stars, look over there, click on the star, look over there. That printout is just all handy right there. And then you see down at the bottom, that's your total possible XP. That's not the total possible, that's the total possible without the scroll. So add the scroll, you got another 8,000, so you're over 40k possible XP. And then there's that glint. It's 139.5 dim, or equals to 1 gold, about 1.4 gold. All right, that's all for Destinies, but I want to mention this. This gets asked a lot in global chat. I'm going to explain to you how you can add your fishing pole to your hotbar. First thing you want to do is you want to open up your skill tree. Press K, open up your skill tree. The very last tab is the skill book. Click on the last tab. Make sure the artisan tab on the left-hand side is showing. Click on fishing, and this icon right here is the one that you need to drag down to your hotbar. So if you move it to whatever level on your hotbar, F or G or whatever, 0, then walk up to a fishing spot, which is water, press 0, and then it'll start fishing. That's the AFK fishing icon. While you're here, go ahead and move the sport fishing icon if you plan on sport fishing. If not, then, I mean, you have, what is that, 36 different slots down there that you can do. So I would put these somewhere on the top bar, since that's generally ones that you're not going to have to your hotkeys. And then, yeah, that way you can fish if you ever need to fish. The fishing survey pylons are kind of broken in the game right now. I would wait on that, but you can do, I think that's arcane engineering. You can go make one if you want to see what it's like. Make one and then pop it and see if it helps or anything like that. And we are done. So again, like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys on Vera.